Hello guys, and welcome to another day with Zimaleta. In today's video we're going to talk about Expedite and what does it cost you to run your business. And I got my handy dandy calculator here. I've been meaning to kind of like make an update video on the topic that I talked about before. It's a pretty popular video on my channel. I wrote a lot of things down on the paper. I had to kind of memorize it. I was driving as we going, wearing my sunglasses because sun was actually shining in my eyes, and I needed to like remember a lot of stuff, you know, that I write down. But it was a pretty detailed type of video. This is not going to be a video that I wanted to make because I wanted to have a whiteboard. I want to look at all the, you know, main expenses and stuff like that. But in today's video, we're just gonna sit here. We're gonna talk. We're gonna do some math, and I'm going to try to figure out what does it cost to run a business for you guys with a used van like this. What does it cost for you guys to run it with a brand new vehicle? I don't care if it's a ProMaster, Ford, Mercedes Sprinter. I think there's some things that you guys just don't realize, like as far as the expenses goes. But today's video, we're going to look at the main cost of doing business. Perhaps this is not the business that you want to be in, and I'm not trying to be negative here, because if you're doing this thing the wrong way, you might as well just go work at a Walmart, $9 an hour if you're doing it wrong. What I mean by that. So let's get started here. So before even getting into this business, okay, we have to think of maintenance. You got to think about payments on the vehicle. You got to think about breakdowns. You got to think about the insurance, and you do have to think about, you know, the vehicle payment or the major service on the vehicle. So let's imagine the scenario right now for a similar van like mine, for a used van, because it's a, you know, pretty popular van on my channel. Did you know for a used Sprinter like this, it's costing you between $20,000 to $25,000 in fuel every single year? So let's go ahead and plug these numbers in. We're gonna put $25,000 in. If you're going to do your own oil changes, it's costing me $50 for 10 quarts, because, you know, I only use 10 quarts. Now, if you got like a 13 quart and a half, you know, newer type of Sprinter, which is still 2007, 8, paid off, you're gonna be having about expense maybe like $70, you know, give or take, for oil. $75 or $80 actually. Okay, plus you're gonna need to buy a filter, and the filter is gonna be anywhere from $7 to 10. Some people pay as much as 20. So let's say an oil change is $100. Can we establish this number? $100 to do it yourself every single month. It's costing me about $60 because oil filter about $10, because normally I wait too long and I end up getting it at the parts store. I should just order. I'm actually gonna post a link in my description of this video. Maybe, you know, if it's not there, check again later, where to get filters at like great discounts, but you're gonna need to get like a lot of them, like 10 or 12 filters. We're not even talking about the fuel filters yet. We're not talking about the cabin or air filters yet, just the oil changes alone. So without dragging this out, oil changes is going to cost us $100 per month. That means $1,200 it's costing us to change our oil per year. So let's plug $1,200 in. And guys, we're just gonna look at something typical, okay? We're gonna look at a typical situation where, for the most part, you're not doing your own service. Most part, you get a breakdown, somebody else is fixing it for you. But we're gonna look at the situation where your van is completely paid off. So at least you don't have to worry about that, okay? Now, we got the oil change, just the oil. We're just talking about the engine oil. I'm not even gonna get into the transmission fluid because you gotta change that about 3 times a year. Okay, let's keep going. I'm getting distracted with my kids over here. Okay, breakdowns. I know you're gonna think this sounds crazy, okay? But I've heard guys spend as much as $20,000 per year maintaining these vehicles, especially when they got leaky injectors and stuff like that, you know, where they have to have somebody, you know, fix that stuff for them. And various problems like with transmissions and drive shaft and, you know, even something like brakes and calipers and all this other good stuff. It really gets pricey because there's just a lot of stuff that could go wrong. But I have done some figures, okay, and I know you're gonna pretty much do about 3 major breakdowns in a year, okay? So that's gonna be about $3,000 a pop, about $3,500 actually, and this is based on my previous estimates and, you know, like experience, because I used to go to shops, get stuff fixed. So it's gonna cost about $10,000 per year, just for that kind of maintenance. So plus $10,000. Now, transmission fluid change is very important to list in here. At the very minimum, you're gonna need to do it about 3 times, because you're gonna need to change your transmission fluid every 30,000 miles. Could you change it every 50? Sure. With every 30,000, that's taken into the consideration. You're not doing a complete flush. You're changing about 4 to 5 quarts of oil, plus you're changing the filter and the seal and the 13-pin connector. But that's easily gonna be just like, if you're gonna shop at the Mercedes, you're gonna end up paying anywhere from $15 to $18 a quart for transmission fluid. So that being said, you're gonna need about 5 of them. So that's $100 right there, just pop. Just gone, okay? So you're just gonna use that estimate, and the filter and the seal and the 13-pin connector, you know, all these things, probably gonna run you like another 30 bucks, okay? But we're gonna discount that completely, okay? Let's say $100, that's all it costs to do your transmission fluid change. Argument's sake, maybe you got a cheaper fuel, oil somewhere, you know, stuff like that. So it costs you $100, because I end up getting quarts of oil anywhere ranging from $6 to $7, and I actually do a complete change. I don't do a flush. I drain the torque converter, I drain everything. It's very important. Plus, I've removed the valve body, I've removed the speed sensors, I've removed the, you know, the actual speeds. Well, man, like, why am I forgetting this right now? Basically, I cleaned the speed sensor, okay? I removed the conductor plate. How could I forget this, okay? I talk about this many times. Conductor plate, and I cleaned the speed sensors, because it's very important, because if you don't, you're gonna be in a limbo somewhere and it's not gonna be interesting, okay? But, so, we're gonna look at transmission fluid change 3 times a year, $100 a pop, so that's about $300. Is that right? So it doesn't sound too bad. So, plus $300. Okay. One thing that we haven't looked at is insurance. So we've looked at fuel, we looked at all these other things. Insurance is going to cost you about, guys are paying anywhere from $6,500 to $10,000. Let's use $10,000 as an estimate. I'm hearing this more often than not, okay? So let's plug in $10,000. Boom. So right now we're at $46,500 yearly expenses, and what am I missing here? I am missing some stuff. Maybe tires? I think I'm missing tires. You're gonna need to buy 1 set of tires per year, and the tires is going to cost you anywhere from $500, which usually it costs me $500 for a set of 4 tires. We're not talking about a spare. We're not talking no extras, no road hazard, and all this cool stuff. Just a set of tires, just mounting and balancing, you know. About $500. Now, if you're buying Michelin's, that's gonna run you about $1,000 or so. That's 4 or like $800, depending on which one they are. Like, it's different places. But let's say, for argument's sake, it's only $500 a year. So let's plug in $500, and we're looking at $47,000. I know possibly something. Well, I know I'm not including a lot of stuff, because it's not really that important to include everything in here. It's just important to look at just this specific thing, okay? So we're at $47,000. So what does an Expediter typically make in a year? Guys, as long as I've been in a business, most of the times I used to average, you know, like when I was like new, about $69,000 a year, okay? Now it's been different. I've been as much as like $93,000 a year, and that only happened like one time. And now I don't work as often, so, you know, obviously my numbers are not important. What is important is a typical Expediter. You're over there expediting about 3 weeks out of the month. You're home about a week. You're gonna average about $69,000 to $70,000. So let's use that as an example. So we're gonna minus $70,000. we're gonna get a negative number, but that's not important. So we got $23,000 that's actually remaining for ourselves after just a sprinter maintenance expenses, you know, stuff like that. That's why I talk about how important it is to service your own sprinter and stuff like that. So this video, obviously it's kind of long. I didn't expect it to be this long, but I'm gonna have to make another video for a newer type of vehicle, and I'll stand in front of my newer type of sprinter because those expenses are much different, and these are considerably less. Okay, so $23,000. So let's divide this by 12 months. So you're making $1,916 per month clean cash. So this is money that's going into your pocket. Okay. Now, if you got a house, that's a rent, house payment, mortgage, any kind of insurances, phones, clothing, food, internet, cable bill, you know, stuff like that. That's all going to be deducted out of this money. So, but that's not important. What is important is how much do you make actually per hour, you know, according to this rate, okay? So let's divide this by 4 weeks. By the way, a year has 13 months, not 12 months. Do the math. 365 just divided by like 7, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about, and then I guess multiply by 4 and whatever, and you'll see that it's really 13 months. But we're just gonna use the 4 weeks out of the month method, you know, keep things simple. So that means you're making about $479 per week. So if you was working 40-hour job, how much would you make? $11.97. That's actually considerably better than a new sprinter that I'm getting ready to talk about. And obviously I'm not even looking at everything, and I know what you're saying, Serge. It doesn't cost me $10,000 per year to fix my sprinter. If it doesn't, then let's do a reverse. Maybe it doesn't, but you're making a payment for that vehicle right now. And if you're making a payment for that right now, use that instead of the payment, because as you notice, there was no payment for the sprinter. It's just $10,000. So in a way, that's the argument's sake that people make. Well, the amount I spent in service maintaining this old van, I could have been paying for a new one, and that's true. That's true, except one thing you're missing. In 2 more years, you're gonna have an old van with a payment. So, you know, that being said, it's up to you. So you're gonna have service, and now you're gonna have, if you bought a Sprinter with DF, now you have DF issues and all this other stuff like that. Guys, I'm all about finding solutions and finding answers for you guys that, you know, save you money, okay? So I'm not just gonna leave you with this and say, you know, that's it, you know? Let's look at this a little bit differently. We need to save on everything that we can, if we're gonna have any kind of money left over for us. Otherwise, what's the use of traveling so far away, being away from your family, having all this extra risk and all this stuff that you have to deal with? You have to sleep in a van, especially if you don't look at it in a positive way, like it's a vacation. Because a lot of us, I mean, let's face it, some of us hate this. You know, I love it. I love it. I actually really enjoy traveling. I treat it like a vacation. But that being said, that's not everybody. You know, you have to really love this business. Let me just use myself as an example. What does it cost me to do this business? Okay. All right. Let's use my numbers. Let's plug them in. This will be maybe a mind blow for some of you guys. Maybe it's gonna open up your eyes a little bit, make you think a little bit different. Maybe you are already doing similar stuff. Because here's the thing, guys. You don't have to wait a whole year to find out if you're doing good. You have to find out every single month if you're doing good. You know what I mean? You can't like have a year go by and you're like, man, where did the money go? You need to know already where it's going right away before it even gets out of your pocket. So without no further ado, do I have a payment for the Sprinter? No. Do I have $10,000 bill for this van every single year? No, I don't. Now, if I was buying parts, yes, I would have quite a bit in parts. It's really easy to just rake up $7,000 in parts. I know this because when I bought a 1,000,000 mile Sprinter, I spent about $7,700 just in parts to keep the thing maintaining, and that was in 1 year. So, you know, without having anybody really do anything. But for the past 3 years, only parts I bought was alternators, starters, belts, pulleys. That's it. I know you've seen me. Oh yeah, of course, oil, transmission fluid, transmission filters, seals, 30-pin connectors. These things I buy new because, you know, you just can't not buy new. Do I spend money on extra parts, like extra stuff, like, you know, make I don't know, like a little scent, you know, to smell in my vehicle, buy all these little knickknacks for the sprinter to make it look all sexy and stuff? I don't. I find these things to be unnecessary. I used to be one of those people. I used to have like a Honda Accord back in the day. Like I was like 18 years old, and I would go like to Pep Boys. I'm like, okay, what is the next thing? Maybe I could get some windshield nozzles that glow blue. Okay, maybe I could upgrade my front lights to look like a Lexus lights, you know, with those brown circles, you know, like, and they're like projector lights. I'll buy like new tail lights. I'll buy new rims, you know, low profile tires. Buying all these Under Armour or what is it called, like the stuff to really clean your vehicle up. I still actually have a lot of the stuff, you know, like left over. Do I still buy it? You know, sure, but I kind of just put it on the shelf and it just kind of sits there, and, you know, maybe I'm gonna clean up a car, but there's nothing wrong with cleaning a car. But it meant to take a lot of your money. You try to make your tires look black and, you know, all this stuff. It's really just sucking my money out because I was just like an hourly employee, so that's where I would spend my money. I would buy extra wiring, you know, like all kinds of stuff. And sprinters is no different. You might want to put auxiliary battery. You might want to have a, you know, like a power inverter. You might want to have a nice sleeper, AC. You know, you're gonna have generator and stuff like that, and you might need a blanket and pillow and a mattress, and, you know, before you know it, like, you're like not making any money. And then like S-bar system and Webasto and stuff like that. So a lot of times I'm being asked, like, why you don't have all this stuff? Like, I don't need it. You know, sure, I'm saving money, and like, but these amenities I really don't need. I'm just there to work, you know. So when I work, I'm done. I just go on a vacation, you know, somewhere. And because I don't have these extra stuff, when I do the math, I could actually spend a night in a hotel if I wanted to. If I really don't have, you know, comfortable situation where, you know, it's too hot, I could just go in a hotel. It's fine. I'm not like one of those people that I need a hotel, you know, to sleep. But anyways, let's focus. Let's begin to focus. I can't believe. Good thing there's a timer here, because I could really go on and on about this, and I need to really cut myself short and really get to the point. Instead of saying like what expenses I don't have, let me tell you which ones I do have. That will make it easier. My tires. What did I spend on tires for the Sprinter this year? $250. What do I spend on insurance? Let me see. $1,680 per year. That's how much I spent for insurance. For tires, $250. Oil changes, it costed me about $700 per year to change them. I'm still gonna use a figure of $300 for transmission fluid. Alternator, for instance, and I'm including now parts, I guess, because I am doing my own labor, you know. Alternator about 250 bucks, start about 150. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it really. But now this alternator, this starter that I bought in this vehicle, they are lifetime warranty. And belts, I probably go through like 3 belts a year, so about $60 in belts. Pulleys I already have, I buy them in advance. So we're looking at $3,390. So that's insurance, tires, oil changes, basically maintenance. Could be forgetting. I'll add it as we go along. But that's already like important stuff. What does it cost me per year in fuel? It's costing me about $20,000, guys, per year. So let's plug that in, $20,000. This is if I actually stay busy, which I don't. So it's probably not even costing me $20,000 because I spend a lot of time at home. But let's say that, for argument's sake, because it doesn't really matter. So $20,000. So is this it? So it's costing me $23,390. That's considerably less, guys. Considerably less than a lot of people are paying. And let's look at the numbers further. So let's deduct this from $70,000 income. So I have $46,610 left over. So $46,600, let's say, left over. So let's divide that by 12. So that means I'm making $3,883 per month, clean money. I don't have no rent. What is that weekly? $970 weekly. It's not bad. It's not bad. Now, if you're a driver out there and you're making that much money, keep in mind, this actually might be pretty good for you, because a lot of times when you do the math, it makes sense to be a driver. It really does. It's really tricky being a fleet owner, because there's a lot of numbers that really go into play here. So $970. What is that per hour? $24.27 per hour. I think it's very similar figures what I was actually coming up with at the time when I was making that other video. So I guess I'm making close to $25 an hour, you know, even at 24. Is it bad? That's a lot better than $12. Yeah, that's actually double. So I'm actually making double than what normal type of Sprinter owners are making. So what does that allow me to do? That allows me to buy extra things that I need. I could go on vacations more often. I could spend more time with my family. I could plan for the future. My mind's not boggled down with all kinds of bills. That means my brain is really working creatively to come up with other better future solutions, you know, for myself and my family. And you know, right now I'm using this money that I'm actually making to fix up my house. I'm almost done, by the way. I know, like, it seems like it's all dragging out, and it is, you know, but that's how it is. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So, so what do I have to say to you guys? I would have to say, if you want to be in this type of position, you need to really follow a lot of things that I do, and don't think just because I'm doing it very simply and, you know, it almost seems like it's effortless. It is not effortless. I'm just really used to it. I'm really not letting these things like get the better of me, and I'm just making the best out of the situation. You know, like when my Sprinter's always breaking, like, I mean, it is. I have to fix right now. I gotta remove the drive shaft, and because I have extra spare parts, I'm gonna plug in another drive shaft from another van. So boom, money saved. That would have probably cost me $1,300. At the very least $700. There is some deals for $700 on Google if you Google it for the drive shaft. If I find a better deal, I'll plug it in there, you know, in my links and stuff under that video that I'm gonna be talking about drive shafts. But guys, when I was living in apartments, I was struggling. I was barely making my rent due. Why is that? That is because, just like what I explained in the beginning of the video, I don't have enough left over. I don't have enough left over. So at the time, you know, I had somebody else always servicing my vehicle and stuff like that. I had to make these things, I had to change them. I had to change them. So the very little changes that I did was, first of all, start servicing my own vehicle. That was the very littlest thing that, you know. And when I could, I bought another spare Sprinter. I had to pay for a parking lot. I actually was paying like about $90 a month for storage to actually store my Sprinter. Now, luckily, I have some land and I can store on my land. If you could afford a property like mine, land, something, buy it, because if you see a good deal on a Sprinter that's broken, just get it, park it. It's going to be a money saver down the road. You can just pull something off of it. I used to think, shoot, these Sprinters have so many miles, 400,000, 500,000. What use is this old piece of junk? You know, kind of like that. Like, would I even use these parts? Like, they're old. So what? Like, when I put it on, they're gonna break, you know? Guys, not quite. I'm using old parts. They're not like main parts, but they're parts there are various sensors and mechanism and computers and drive shafts and brake calipers and fuel lines and, you know, oil, you know, there's just all kinds of stuff, guys. I pull them off, I keep using, and I'm looking at that sprinter. It's being taken apart. I'm thinking, gosh, I took a transmission out of it, I used it. I put a drive shaft in here from that sprinter. I put a rear differential from that vehicle. I put a transmission on my other van from another sprinter. And now I'm getting ready to remove that transmission, stick a better one in there, you know, with less mileage, put a better drive shaft with less mileage, probably replace the rear differential with less miles from my million-mile sprinter. So after all, it is not a million-mile sprinter anymore. It is a Frankenstein. It's got a lot of new parts. It's gonna keep on running. Like, if we as humans could, like, you know, and like replace our parts, you know, like that easily and availably, like, I mean, we probably could live forever. I mean, but you know, we're not, so, you know, we're limited. So, you know, sprinters, we could do something about it. A lot of times this is not the type of vehicle that you find rotting at a yard somewhere, you know. Plus, I mean, guys, not to mention, there's so many body parts. I mean, when you're looking at something like this, you're thinking, oh, maybe a door, maybe a window, maybe a rear door, maybe sliding door, you know. There is that as well. But once you do start fixing your sprinter yourself, you're going to see money back in your pocket. Not right away. Right away, you're not going to notice it because you just bought a used sprinter. Maybe you bought a lot somewhere. You're not going to see much difference. But over time, and I'm talking about a year or two out, you're going to start noticing, hey, I'm having a little extra money. But while those years are going, guys, shop around for the insurance policy. I know a lot of you guys asking me how much you pay for insurance. Where is this type of insurance? Guys, to get my insurance, you can't. You really can't. The agent that sold me this insurance cannot get it anymore at this price. I was grandfathered in, I guess. And he told me, he says, that company, they don't know what they're doing. So they sold it to me very cheaply, okay? And he says there was you and another guy that had this. He had a box truck, and that company dropped him. And I said, why did they drop him? He says, well, he had an accident recently. And I said, well, maybe why? So that being said, guys, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to give out my company name. I mean, I don't want them to call up and say, hey, did you know he's paying way too less, you know, and let's charge him a little bit more. You know, that could happen. I don't want that to happen. So I'm not going to give my company away. But that being said, it's a local company, okay? It is not somebody that sells it across country, just like Progressive does. But guys, Progressive really, they really, like, I don't know, like they're really becoming a monopoly type of company. A lot of companies, they will not take you unless you have Progressive or CIS insurance, because supposedly they know what they're doing and they'll sell you the right policy. Shop around, guys. I've seen different guys out there, like even like when I was Expedite before, I remember a guy was paying the same amount of insurance, and I said, how much you paying for insurance? He's like, like that. And I'm like I think it's like 150 bucks a month. I'm like, how? I'm paying $450 a month. How are you paying 150? He's like, well, it's my company, you know. Who's your company? Where, you know? He's like, State Farm. I'm like, State Farm? I have State Farm, you know? And I called up mine. They're not selling it to me, but his agent sold it to him. Go figure. Go figure. So you're just gonna need to shop around, check with your local companies. A lot of times they have like different type of connections, and you might get lucky. You might get some kind of insurance company that they'll sell it to you like for a cheap rate. And you know, the going rate for insurance, it's about $6,000 per year. So if you're paying about $6,000, you're in good shape. That's about normal. $6,700, $7,000. Now there's guys that's paying 10, and I've met guys that had quotes $14,000. And guess what? They're not driving their own van. They're being a driver because they can't afford to pay that expensive premium. And in other situations I've seen out of South Carolina, same price, $14,000. For bad credit, for lots of accidents and tickets and stuff like that. So, you know, that being said, you know, I have a clean driving record, and it helps. Plus I have an old vehicle. I only have liability. And all these things help, you know, because if you have a new vehicle, you need this bigger coverage. I don't, you know. So that being said, if I'm only paying 140, 150 a month, could I park this thing for a month and just not work? Of course, you know. That's what I do. I've been home already for like, I think like a month and a half now, if not more. And it does not really impact me at all. As a matter of fact, if I don't work anymore, guys, that's it. Like, I would still make money if I didn't work. And I know that sounds crazy, but everything that I did in my life, I strategize to make the best out of the situation, so it's actually making me money, you know. So, but I'm not stopping. I'm always creating creative solutions, you know, to try to make other incomes happen, because it's important to me. I like to help people. I like to create income. I like to share my ideas with you guys. And of course, like I said in some of the other videos, I will be creating courses and putting on teachable.com. But I already share everything with you guys that I know. But I think some of the stuff really need to be taught. It needs to be a more professional approach and show everything, you know, these kind of numbers and stuff. But I hope this was a helpful video. Write in the comments below, what is your situation? Like what did you get out of this video? Or like, what is it costing you per year to operate? Calculate all your stuff and tell me, what is your yearly money left over? And I will actually tell you one thing, guys. When you're doing your taxes, when you write off, and I already did this example, when you write off, I think like 53, 54 cents a mile, that's what I do. I write off mileage. And I write off per diem. And just those two things alone really makes a huge difference on my taxes. So, but you could also write off your cell phone, you could write off clothing, and there's a lot of stuff you could write off. Like your, well, if you got a new vehicle, you could write off the interest rate you've paid. They're gonna send you at the end of the year, but mileage takes care of the maintenance, depreciation, fuel, all this stuff. So I use mileage. It is the best form of discount on your taxes that I found. But when I do them and I look at what I have left over, guys, IRS is not stupid. Like, you really have left over what you have left over. That's actually how much you got left, you know, when all said and done. And when you look at that, you're thinking, huh, I'm making minimum wage. You know what I mean? So it is like, it is what it is, guys. And it's different for everybody. So that's probably why they have to like, kind of like overestimate a little bit, because everybody has different habits and stuff. And some people can't make it on this income. It's just not enough. And you're better off just getting a job or education somewhere. But I think there's always other ways of using creatively, you know, like, and just making more. And that's actually what I'm doing, you know. So, but anyways, guys, thank you for watching this long video. Think of it as a podcast. I think a lot of them 30 minutes long, or an hour even. But anyways, guys, always pleasure to talking to you guys. Take care of yourself, and God bless you. See you in my next video.